Hey everyone, welcome to WittCode. In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect a Node application to a MongoDB server. So here's an example of what we're going to build. All we have to do is just run the program, which is just Node and then our index file. And we can see that we've connected, we've inserted data, and then we've retrieved the data. And we're going to do all this in this video. Okay, so we're going to start this project with just an empty directory. And the first thing we're going to do is we want to initialize this project. So I'm going to run npm init es6-y. What this does is create a package.json file here and also sets the type to module so we can use import, which is more modern syntax for Node apps. And now to connect a Node application to MongoDB, we need a MongoDB driver. And a MongoDB driver is essentially software that manages connecting to MongoDB. And we can install it from npm. It's just called MongoDB. So npmi MongoDB. And now that we have our driver installed, what we need to do is create a client from this package and give it a connection URI. So we're going to do this inside a folder called source and a file called index.js. And so what we simply do is we import a Mongo client from this library. Let me zoom in one more. So we import a Mongo client object, which is essentially an object that connects to a Mongo server or a Mongo database. Then we have something called a connection URI, which contains connection information to connect a Mongo client to a Mongo server. So of course, then we pass this URI to our Mongo client. And for this URI, the protocol is MongoDB. Then we have the location of our server, which is localhost, and the port that it's running. And by default, MongoDB runs on port 27017. However, if the server requires authentication, then we also need to supply this information to the URI as well. So if our MongoDB server has a username and password, we need to provide these here. So it'll be MongoDB and then -- username, a colon, password, and then an @ symbol, and then the location. So of course, switch out this username and password with the ones that you have set up for your Mongo database. And now to connect to the database, we need to use the method called connect on our Mongo client. So here's our Mongo client, which we create here, and then we just run this connect method. And this method will return a promise that will resolve when the connection is established and will reject if there is an error connecting. So let me run this. So I'm just going to run node source index.js, and I actually get authentication failed because I'm just using username and password here, when really I believe let me look up what they are real quick actually. So my username is WittCode, and my password is my secure password. Now let's try running this again. And now we get connected to MongoDB. So make sure you swap out the username and password here with yours. But so now that we're connected, let's query MongoDB. So remember, MongoDB creates a database and a collection automatically when the data are first stored in them. So if we store data in a collection that doesn't exist, or a database doesn't exist, then Mongo will just create those for us. And I'm just going to demonstrate this by pasting in some code here. So now we connect to MongoDB with our connection client. We say that we've been connected. After that, what we're going to do is insert an object into a collection called myCoolCollection inside a DB called myCoolDB. After we've inserted it, if we're successful, we'll say inserted data. Then we're going to find one from that collection, which will return the result. And at the end, we're just going to close down the connection. So now let's run this one more time. And we can see connected. We can see that we inserted data, and then we retrieved the data. But so that's really all it takes. Just note this. So this insert one function right here will create both a database and collection if they don't exist, which was the case for us because we hadn't created either of these. But that's really all it is to connecting to MongoDB with Node. I want to thank you for liking and subscribing. If you have any questions, leave them for me in the comments. Besides that, install my Chrome extension called WittScepter, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.